What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tiny Tyler, and in today's video we're talking House of the Dragon Season 3 Episode 5. Just aired last night at the time of recording this, so spoiler warning ahead. We're going to get into it. This is going to be a review and a discussion on the entire episode, what's going on, where do we think things are going, predictions, all the things, and I'll probably reference Fire and Blood a bit. So again, spoiler warning ahead. If you don't want to hear about any of that kind of stuff, you have in fact been warned. Cheers. Let's fucking do this. So starting from the beginning, the whole situation with Rhaenyra's small council is absolutely fascinating. It's just like, it's chaotic. You know, her choice to bring Lady Frey into the mix was an interesting one, and just kind of like maybe like a nod, a little hint, a little splash of love for the fans out there. Because I gotta be honest, in Fire and Blood, I don't remember the phrase being mentioned at all. So it feels like it's a bit more fan service for the Game of Thrones fans more than anything. Storyline, you know, with Lady Frey and even using the phrase to get the Winter Wolves across the twins, like it all makes sense, you know. Council was an interesting move, and you just kind of see there's this clear divide with her small council. You know, like most of them don't even trust her fully. Does, but then at the end it's like who knows, which is something we'll come back to a little bit later. You know, Daemon's second guessing her, and I wouldn't even say second guessing. He's challenging her, and you can tell she feels threatened by that because her spouse is constantly challenging her rule. And I think we're seeing more and more why kings of the past, maybe with Viserys being the exception, have had to rule with a sense of fear. And even more interesting about this to me is the very thing, the very strength, the very power that gives the Targaryens a level up in Westeros. She doesn't use. I mean, and Daemon's constantly reminding her, like, you're the Queen of Dragons. You have a power that no one's ever wielded before. All these different things, and she doesn't utilize it. And then I can respect it. I love it, like, from a personal view standpoint. Like, I love the idea of like compassion and mercy. And in Westeros, ruling through fear seems like it's something that is very necessary. And I think we're starting to see that more and more. Like when Lady Frey was running her fucking mouth, and Rhaenyra just like turned around and was like, bitch, I will knock your ass out. You know, she was about to get fucking hold my weave type of shit. So that was fucking interesting. And it's like not like it, her small council seems to be like symbolically representing the fracture in King's Landing. And then even on a larger scale, the fracture in Westeros. You know what I mean? Because like it's not just a mistrust within her small council. The King's Landing, the city, is falling apart. The people in Westeros, obviously, there's a war, so that's fractured, and so that's really interesting. And we'll come back to Daemon soon too, because like the whole thing with Daemon and the Gold Cloaks, like that whole like that even that last scene. Oh my god, it was very biblical in a lot of ways. That last scene, it was almost like it. I don't know if it's just me, but it was almost like it was the Last Supper from the Bible, but like everyone's dead, and that was a cool way to illustrate that, which again, I'm going to come back to that momentarily because there's a lot of things I want to talk about with Daemon and the Gold Cloaks. But Ormund Hightower's plan, you know, because that ultimately comes back to his plan. I find this is just really cool writing to me, because he's like single-handedly, maybe not single-handedly because everyone's helping him, but he is creating this in divide within King's Landing. Already almost didn't trust her. People wavered at Rhaenyra's reign, and he's just pushing things over the edge even faster. I love how he compares himself to Maria Martell, the yellow toad of the Dorne. When characters kind of reach like that, like even how Daemon Targaryen in like season 1 or 2 would compare himself to Aegon the Conqueror. How these people would reach and hold themselves in such a high esteem that they think they're as formidable as the great minds, the great leaders in Westerosi history. It's really, really cool writing. I really enjoy it. Nothing like that was really in the books. Grip over King's Landing dissolves, and maybe that's even putting it mildly, but it dissolves because people simply don't trust her. It's not because Ormond Hightower's pulling the strings like a puppeteer in the background, because it seems like there's a much bigger plan at play for Ormond. And I like this. Like, I like what he's doing with Daeron. You know, like, I'll be honest with you. I'm Team Black. I have been since day one. It's all pretty morally a gray area, if you ask me. I mean, that's Westeros. But I've been Team Black from the beginning. But I like with what they're doing with Ormond Hightower. I really fucking do. Like, Daeron as king throws a massive curveball in things because I just can't help but wonder. It's like, at the end, or maybe it's wherever it's at, when they show Aegon and Larys and Tywin Lannister, it's like it seems like they're building something back up with Aegon. Like they're building him back up so that he can come back and at least be a part of the fight. Where he ends up beyond that, I don't know, but like at least be. And again, I'm gonna keep away from the spoilers from the book. At least be a part of the fight, right? Even like I found this like a really fascinating character building moment for Aegon when Larys just kind of tells him how, for lack of a better word, how pathetic he is, and he just takes it. And I found that like a really cool, really good piece of writing for the character development of Aegon. I thought that was a very cool thing to throw in there, and it almost kind of boasts the maybe the momentum of Aegon returning to the Iron Throne, or at least the idea of him returning, right? Because right now no one's really backing him. It's just Larys, and it's like you're not winning a war with that one, right? So that was a really cool moment. And so to bring that full circle with Daeron and Ormond's plan with Daeron, with the coins and everything like that, this begs the question to me, is like, what happens with the Greens if Aegon comes back and declares himself alive, And then if he does that, what happens with Aemond? Because last they said earlier, I believe in this episode, Rhaenyra declared Aegon was dead at Aemond's hand. And that creates a whole host of issues for the Greens. Like who, again, it kind of is what we were talking about last week with Helaena being pregnant, which is something we're going to get to too. Who's actually next in succession? Who, like, if all three of the brothers are alive, who is actually going to be the quote-unquote leader, the king of the Greens, of Westeros, assuming they win? And, I really lean towards Ormond Hightower's, his pick of Daeron, because Ormond Hightower seems to be the one in control. And this makes me really curious about where they go with this, assuming they continue to build momentum there, right? Let's just put Aegon over here, we're done talking about that for a moment. Ormond keeps building momentum. They get some wins, they get some whatever under their belt. They have momentum. People are starting to believe in Daeron as king. It makes me question, like, does Daeron ever show his Targaryen colors? Because he was raised in Old Town. He wasn't. I mean, as far as we know, he was never around Viserys, his father. Never knew any of his brothers, so any connection to his Targaryen lineage is minimal at best. So through and through, like from a psychological perspective, he has the mindset of a Hightower, with the exception of the fact that he can ride and wield a dragon. And this is fascinating because like the power alone probably gives him, with the dragon, the power that he has by being a dragon rider, at least gives him some of a psychological basis for being a Targaryen. So it makes me wonder if him and Ormond may come to blows, because I don't know, the way I read the situation, the relationship with them right now, is that Daeron, he follows Ormond out of fear and out of loyalty, but not out of respect. That's the way I see it, though. I could definitely be seeing that wrong. But it doesn't seem like he respects Ormond. So that begs the question, if his Targaryen colors, that Targaryen blood starts coming through, assuming he progresses and has like a real shot at claiming the throne, does he turn on Ormond at some point? Because he's like, and you see this throughout Fire and Blood with the earlier kings, like even Jaehaerys, early in his reign, when he was a kid, like he openly rebelled against anyone who challenged him as king, like his mother and the Hand of the King at the time, which was a Baratheon of sorts. And so I don't know, I kind of lean into the fact I don't know if I could see it or if I would want to see it, but Daeron and Ormond might come to blows, assuming Daeron continues to build momentum and gets like people rallying behind him as a potential successor to the Iron Throne, assuming the Greens win. But to kind of stay on the topic of the Greens, because a lot of the stuff I want to talk about for the rest of the video, with the exception of Daemon and the Gold Cloaks, is and Helaena, everything going on there, and Harrenhal. The whole thing at Harrenhal is interesting. I mean, because as we know, Alice Rivers is a green seer, so she maybe they don't. I don't think they ever say it outright, but she knows what needs to happen. And I'm curious what they do with her and Aemond moving forward. I'm getting the sense that they're building Aemond up to have visions of his own, similar to Daemon when he was in Harrenhal in season 2. And again, that was one of those things that wasn't in the book. So I'm curious. I'm assume that Aemond is also going to have visions. And my question is, like, what are those visions? And what are those visions trying to show Aemond that he needs to act upon? That he needs to take out Daemon? Like, Daemon and Aemond are each other's biggest threats. I feel like they both, I think, address it one or two times throughout the series, but it's always kind of like an undertone to the entire battle, or the entire Dance of the Dragons. Like, those two are the quote unquote powerhouses. Those are the military leaders, if you will, because they have the firepower. I mean, even though like Vermithor is on the side of the Blacks, I mean, Daemon is Daemon, so I think we still have to give it to him, Vermithor aside, you know. But yeah, that and then the Alicent, Helaena thing. I still like the idea that Helaena has Aemon's kid. I think it makes it way more dramatic. But it almost feels like they're not even going to address who the father is. It's just like, it's implied it's Aegon, which to me, the timing just doesn't make sense. But okay, I'll buy it. It's Aegon's kid that Alicent and Helaena get trapped in that, I don't know, hallway, dungeon, escape route, whatever we want to call it, on the way out. You know, it's almost like they're plagued by the past, you know, and that could be like symbolically represented in Helaena showing up pregnant all of a sudden. Alicent's kids just kind of all rogue in a lot of ways. And I mean, even Alicent misrepresenting or misinterpreting what Viserys was actually trying to say on his deathbed. So it's all really interesting. And then the last thing before I get into Daemon and the Gold Cloaks is the whole Mysaria situation. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, because that situation is really interesting to me. I didn't see it coming. I really didn't see Mysaria even entertaining the idea of betraying Rhaenyra. Now, betraying is a very strong word, but it seems like a lot of things are building to that with Rhaenyra. It seems like almost everybody, every relationship she has is building to that. I gotta be honest, I really didn't see Mysaria going that route. That she even plays those mind games with Alicent, it really caught me off guard. I could still be wrong about this. And I hope I am. Like, I hope Mysaria actually is the only one that stays loyal. Because, like, and again, no spoilers from the books or anything, but, like, the relationship with Mysaria was always cool to me in the book. So, I guess we'll have to wait and find out, but that one really caught me by surprise, and it was really shocking. Daemon and the Gold Cloaks. Okay, right. So, like, the way that shit fucking ended, like, I don't know about you all, like, that was just, like, I'm even getting the chills thinking about it. Like, I was like, what the fuck are they doing here, you know? I mean, I didn't expect it to be so biblical, you know? And for it to happen that way, like, where Daemon goes into the dungeon and finds all of these people. I mean, it seems like there's almost a mole within the small counter, or someone close enough to be able to get to the Gold Cloaks like that. So it's really fucking dope. Like, I don't know, like, again, I said this in videos before. Actually, I just made a whole video talking about, like, what I think would happen if Aemond never claimed Vhagar. You guys should check that out. I'll put a clip somewhere on here. But in that video, I discussed something about Daemon where it's like, I do really like the way they write him in this. Because in the books, he always seemed a bit more, self-centered. But in the show, it really feels like he is passionately driven to support Rhaenyra in every capacity, even though he challenges her. And I could see a lot of people taking that as him, like, second guessing her or stabbing her in the back, but I don't see it that way at all. I really do see it like he genuinely supports her and he just wants to see her fucking succeed. Every way he's showing up for her. And I really love the way they are writing him. Because they don't really strip away the dashing, daring aspect of Daemon. But they're almost like giving him a depth that continues it continues to allow him to grow into like a fully developed character, a well-rounded character where he's driven by power, you know, he's driven by status, but he's also driven by love, and I really love that about him right now. There was a whole, I got, that was a tangent I did not anticipate to go on. Like, I mean, I just really, it was such an awesome speech. The fact that he's able to rev everybody up was really cool. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Again, I really enjoyed the way they're writing him. But I think I'm going to wrap it up there, y'all. I would love to hear your thoughts about everything from this week's episode. I made a video, right before season 3 started, saying what I think's going to happen, or how the show's going to end, essentially, based off of the content of the book. And I have to say, I am radically changing my idea there. I'm thinking now that season 3 is going to end with first Tumbleton, so the Battle of Tumbleton, the first one. And then, I don't know, like, again, I'm going to leave the spoilers out of it, so maybe that's a video to explore another time, but I'm really curious. Really fucking curious. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there, y'all. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you thought, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.